Hello everyone, I'm just starting a live video and I've never done this before and people are here. Hello! I'm so excited. This is my very first live video. Thank you for tuning in. This is so exciting. I'm in my office kind of. This is our guest room that doubles as an office and I want to answer all of your questions and say hi, and if we like this, maybe I'll try to do it more. So I'm just chilling at my desk and maybe I'll kind of show you around my little room first. Hello. Let's see, let me flip this around just for a second. Okay, so this is my little desk. It's actually a Murphy bed, so you can pull these levers down and it turns into a bed, which is really nice. Oh, somebody wants the videos of the plants in my living room. I will totally do that. This is a little bookshelf where I have some of my study books and stuff. I have a closet, a whiteboard, because you guys know I love whiteboards, my dresser, and then just some photos and things, and then a little plant. And I'm definitely going to do a home tour for you guys. Thank you. I love you guys. Okay, so let me start answering some questions that you all have messaged me, but if you have questions here, then just put them here and I'll answer them too. Oh, somebody's coming to me. That's awesome. Hi, everybody. Hi, guys. This is awesome. Thanks. Okay, so I'm going to start with questions, but definitely ask me your questions and I'll try to answer them live as well. Somebody's from Indiana. That's awesome. I love Indiana. My family's there. My husband's family's there. It's a good place. Okay, so first question. This is somebody asking for tips for high school students who want to become doctors, ways they can get involved, classes they should take, and things to help you prepare. And so I actually have a YouTube video that I made about what to do in high school if you want to go to medical school. But the best thing you can do is to just learn how to be a good student. I have 1 million diplomas. That's a funny question. How many diplomas do you have? I think high school is the time where you learn how to study, you learn how you learn, and the better you get at that in high school, then the better you're going to be at it in college, and then the better you'll do in medical school. So in high school, learn how to learn, and learn how to take notes, learn how you study, get a good foundation in chemistry. I found when I was a freshman in college, the people who did really well in chemistry freshman year of college are people who did awesome in high school or had a really strong high school chemistry class. So study really hard for chemistry when you're in high school. I think that'd be good. And then if you can start shadowing or somehow get involved, that's always very helpful. And then also find a good college that has a good pre-med program, because if you want to go to medical school, you want to be at a college that's going to set you up to be able to go to medical school. So how much do you love living in New York? I am obsessed with New York. Okay, so a couple people asked me why we moved to New York. So I finished my residency in ophthalmology in Minnesota at Mayo Clinic, and then we moved to New York because I'm doing a 2-year fellowship here in New York in Oculoplastic Surgery, which is plastic surgery that involves the eyelids and the ocular adnexus, so the orbit or the eye socket, and we deal with tumors and skin cancers, and we have to refashion eyelids, and we do cosmetic things as well, or even functional things like eyelid lifts, brow lifts, cheek lifts, all that kind of stuff. And I am very fascinated by the orbit, which is the eye socket. And so you can do fracture repair, traumatic things, and it's just great. I really love oculoplastic. So I'll be here for 2 years training, and I'm all over the place. I'm at Cornell, Columbia, New York Eye and Ear, NYU, Manhattan Eye and Ear. So if you're around, say hi. I've already met some people at yoga and people in clinic who have said hello. So you guys are just the best. So say hello. Thank you so much. Okay, now I have to scroll through these questions. I go to IU. Yay, thank you. What did you get on step 1? I got about what the average was for ophthalmology, so not crazy high, but within the realm of normalcy for ophthalmology, which is above average, but nothing psycho crazy. People always ask me for study tips for step 1, and I feel kind of weird because I didn't get a 260 or 270 or these crazy scores that people are getting these days. I just used UWorld and first aid, and I did normal but nothing spectacular. So I feel kind of weird giving advice about step 1 just because I didn't destroy it. I will save this live. People are asking for it. I'm going to try to put it on YouTube. Are you coming back to Florida? Just to visit. My family's in Florida. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. I'm obsessed with all of these questions. You're the best. Okay, I got this question several times. If it wasn't for surgery, what would you have done? Or people ask, like, if you couldn't do ophthalmology, what would you have done? So I think that if I didn't do ophthalmology, I would probably just do regular plastic surgery because I really love plastic surgery. But if I couldn't do medicine, I have no idea what I would do. I want to think that I would want to do something creative, like be a florist and own a garden shop or something. That sounds so fun to me. Or be like a chef, or I have no idea. But knowing my personality, I am someone who needs like a very guaranteed job type of situation. Like, I'm not brave enough to start a business or anything like that. All of you people who are like blazing your own trail and forging your own path, I admire you so much because I am not brave enough to do that. And so for me, I loved science and I loved medicine, but also it fit my personality where I knew, like, if I study this hard, I will go to medical school, I will be a doctor, and I will have a job. Like, there's always people who are going to need medical care. And so that's kind of when I feel like medicine suits my personality in that sense, at least. Okay, this question I actually got a lot. Tips for interviews or ophthalmology applications. Ophthalmology is such a small field and it's such a small world that I really think that who you know can really help you, or what research you've done can help you. There's a lot of great networking you can do at Academy if you can go as a medical student. And I also think that away rotations are really important. I did not do an away rotation. And if I could go back and do it all again, I would definitely do one. So I would recommend doing an away if you are a medical student interested pretty much in anything. I think away rotations are a really good way to kind of show yourself and get other letters. I'm getting lots of hearts. Do you people agree? Do you think aways are like a good thing? I don't know. I wish I would have done them. Lots of hearts. You guys are awesome. Okay. Do you have any tips for matching into competitive specialties besides scoring high on step 1? So step 1 is so annoying that it's actually a cutoff that people will use to invite you for interviews. So you kind of have to at least get your foot in the door with your step 1 score, which I hate that that's what they use. I'm actually working on a study right now to look at a ton of different factors and see what is predictive of a good resident or an exceptional resident. There's a really interesting study that urology did actually out of Mayo Clinic, and they showed that step 1 score has absolutely zero predictive value of being a successful resident. So I think that we need to show program directors that what you get on step 1 doesn't matter, and that there's lots of other characteristics that do matter. And as we transition, hopefully, away from these standardized test scores, I think the ways to show yourself are to do awesome on your clerkships. So people who get honors or the highest score in all of their core clerkships, that speaks very highly of your application. So work really hard as a 3rd year and 4th year. Ask how you can help. Read about your patients. Always be paying attention. Always have a pen. Always know what time it is. You know, all those medical student things that you can do. But I think that doing well in your clerkships is a great way to showcase yourself and to do well in your applications. All right. Tips for maintaining healthy work-life balance. Lots of people ask, like, can you have a family? Can you have healthy work life? How do you be in a relationship? Things like that. I think it's all about setting boundaries and being open with communication between yourself and your family. So for me, I'm married, I have a husband, and we have a dog. We don't have kids, but my husband knows that work is a huge priority in my life, and I'm very dedicated to having an academic career. So besides just being a fellow, I also want to be doing research and being really involved in kind of ophthalmology at large, like our academy group and things like that. And so I tell my husband exactly what I have going on, exactly what I need to do, and so he's very aware of what my schedule is like and how busy I am. And then I try to not do work once I get home. So I get up early in the morning and I do work or work out. And then once I'm at work, I work there. And then once I get home, it's time for dinner and it's time for hanging out with my husband and my dog and going on walks or whatever. And I try really hard to be home when I'm home. And that seems to have worked for me and seems to be helpful for me. But it's different for everybody. And the way that you prioritize your life, it's really challenging. So throw out some comments of how you guys balance work life, because it's really, there's no such thing as balance. Like sometimes you're all work, sometimes you're all life, and it's just this ever flowing. It's never 50-50, at least not for me. Yeah, work-life balance. You guys are amazing. Okay, I'm like scrolling through so many of these. Did you ever want to become an emergency physician? No, because I want some long-term relationships with patients. It's exhausting to me having to meet the new patient every single time. Be like, hi, I'm Dr. Tooley. Nice to meet you. Tell me your story. Like, it's just exhausting. It's really great and fun to have some of those new patient interactions, but to have patients that you know so well and that know you and you have this comfort and rapport, I love that, and I need that in my specialty. And that's something you should think about when you're trying to choose a specialty. Like, do you want long-term relationships with everybody, with some people? I really wanted to be a surgeon, and there's a lot of surgical specialties where you see the patient, you operate on them, it's over, and they're gone. And I think oculoplastics is like that for many things. Oh, somebody just matched into ophthalmology. Congratulations! That's so exciting. Ophthalmology is the best. There's something there for everyone. It's really great. But anyways, oculoplastics, you'll have some patients with thyroid eye disease that you'll have to do multiple surgeries on, and you build this really long-term kind of trusting relationship, and that's so fulfilling to me, and that really kind of makes it all worth my while. So yeah. Is it possible to do fellowship in ophthalmology in the U.S. after completing residency in a different country? Yes, you can absolutely do fellowship in the U.S. If you're not residency trained in the U.S., but then you can't practice, to my understanding. You have to do residency. So there's actually quite a few people who will do a fellowship and then go back to residency after doing a fellowship, which to me sounds very painful, but then you're just incredibly trained and really great. Yeah, what do you recommend for studying when you have a family? I find it very difficult at times with my baby and wife. I can't imagine. So for me, I can't get work done at home. I have to leave. And so, because when I'm home, I want to hang out with my husband and my dog, and I want to be with them. And I think if I had a baby or like other kids or anything like that, I would have a really hard time getting work done at home. And that's just me. Other people, I think, can get work done kind of multitasking, doing lots of things. But for me, I have to go to a coffee shop, or I have to go to the library, or I try to do work while I'm at work. And then when I'm home, I don't do work. Maybe little bits here and there, but not a lot. Do you want kids? I think, everybody's asking me this. Do you want kids? I think so. I'm like 70-30. Maybe, I think. I don't know. I think so. I don't want to have kids until I really want to have kids, and so I'm just waiting for the day where I say, I want to have kids, and then I will. But until then, I'm not going to stress about it, because I don't think you should have kids if you don't really want them, at least for me, for my family, and that's what my husband thinks too. I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we have kids? I mean, probably eventually at some point, but definitely not right now. Oh, lots of people have asked about nurse practitioners and PAs and if we work with them. In ophthalmology, we don't work with them too much, but actually at Cornell, at one of the new surgical centers at Cornell, they have PAs, and I'm telling you guys, they are just the best ever. I love working as a team, and I love interacting with people who are coming from all different areas. So people who are coming from a nursing background, people who are coming from PA background, CRNAs, residents, physicians, like everybody. I really enjoy that because I think we all kind of are a little bit different. It's not just like a whole group of doctors or whatever. So anyways, I adore the PAs at Cornell, and I wish that ophthalmology had more opportunities to work with nurses, maybe in the future, but not right now. It's not too much, but I think they're the best, and they just enrich your team, and they give better medical care, and it's all good. Okay, yeah, that was another question. Do ophthalmologists use PAs? Yes, they do, but not a ton. I've gotten this question a lot. How did you decide between being an ophthalmologist or an optometrist? So for me, I wanted to be a surgeon first and foremost. That was like my number one. I want to be a surgeon. And so optometrists are not surgeons. They don't go to medical school, and they're extremely important, and they're the absolute experts in their field, and they're necessary and awesome. I love optometrists, but for me, I needed to be a surgeon. And so that's why I chose medical school over optometry school. And yeah, that's it. But I think they're great. And if you don't think that you want to be a surgeon, but you're interested in the eye and eye disease and things like that, then definitely check out optometry. Same thing. Another question, how do you feel about NPs or PAs? Why didn't you choose this route? I think mainly because I wanted to be the surgeon. I didn't want to be a surgeon assistant, or, I mean, I think you have a lot of autonomy as an NP or PA in the operating room, but I wanted to be the main one. Oh, I feel the same way about kids. Oh, good. Thank you. You guys are so funny. How did you study third year? Okay, I have, my blog is undergoing some transition. You guys, I've gotten tons of messages like, there's nothing on your blog, and I'm trying to transition away into a more kind of professional blog space now that I'm going to be out in practice on my own in a couple years. But I do have really good posts that I need to make sure are archived, because I did go through my third year and fourth year rotations and write like exactly how I studied and what I studied. But that was a long time ago, you guys. I'm getting really old, so I don't know if you should take my advice on how to study for the third and fourth year rotations. But I did use first aid. For surgery, I used Pastana notes, and I think people still do that. I did all the UWorld questions pertaining to that block that I was on. I think I used like the blueprint books for a couple of them, like maybe neurology. Do you guys still use those? I don't even know if you still use those books. I'm so old. So old. Did your husband start working as a PA yet? No, he starts in just a couple weeks, like 3 weeks. It's been so nice moving to New York. Kyle didn't start his job right away. He's an orthopedic PA, and so he'll be working as an ortho PA in New York. But he had like 2 months basically off, which has been so nice, because he's been able to kind of get our life together and help get everything moved in and just be there day to day, because my schedule's been crazy as I've been like adjusting to New York. And we've also had time to kind of explore and have fun, and man, it's just been the best ever. I absolutely love it here. I love it here. What do you recommend doing a day before a very big test? Okay, so if it's a really big test like the MCAT or Step 1, a lot of people will recommend that you just do a little bit of review and then you kind of take the day off and take it easy. I think if you're ready for the test, then do that. But if you know that there's high yield things that you don't know, then I would study. Me, personally, I would study. And the day before a test, don't exhaust yourself. Don't maybe study as hard the day before a big test as you would before just a normal test. But I think that you know what's going to be asked on certain exams. Like, you know the big topics, and you also know what you don't know. And I think that's very helpful when you're studying. I would always ask myself, what do I really not know? Or what if they asked me this, what would I be really bummed about? Like, man, I can't believe they asked that because I don't know it. Ask yourself those questions and then go find the answer. So if you think like, man, I really suck at this one thermodynamics equation, I hope they don't ask me. If that thought goes through your head, then just stop what you're doing, go look at the thermodynamics equation, memorize it, and then it's over. So ask yourself what you don't know. Think, are there any big things that they could ask me that I would really get stuck on? And then go through those the day before the test if you're kind of lost and don't know. How do you stay motivated to study? I think, and a lot of people also ask, like, how do you study for hours on end? I think studying's a lot like fitness or running a marathon or things like that. We've all had this experience where at the beginning of the semester you can only study for maybe an hour or two, and then you're like, whoa, I'm exhausted, like I can't even think anymore. And then by the end of the semester you can study for like 10 hours straight and not even get up, and it's totally fine. And that's because you condition your brain to be able to tolerate having focus and intense focus for that long of a period of time. And you just have to remind yourself that if you can't stay focused, it's just because your brain isn't conditioned to do that. But it absolutely can be. It's just like working out. It's just like fitness. And so you're going to have to build up to it. Like, I am absolutely not in the mental state that I was in medical school when I was a champion studier and could study for hours on end, no problem. Like, right now I read for a couple hours and I'm like, wait, what did I just read? I'm going to have to go back and read all that again. And so just take it day by day and build up that fortitude so that you can keep studying. And staying motivated, for me, part of it was just fear, because there was no, like, option to not study. I had an exam, I had to get a good grade, I had to do well because I wanted to be an ophthalmologist, which is competitive, and so it wasn't optional, and so motivation wasn't like a question. I think that if you have a really defined end goal, then motivation kind of isn't a thing anymore, because now it's a necessity. You have to study because that's what you must do, and it's not even a question. And I think if you have more of an ambiguous goal, like maybe I'll go to medical school if I get in, or if I study enough, maybe, then like you're never going to want to work hard enough to do that. And that's where it's important to do a lot of soul searching, because if you are in the headspace where you're thinking like maybe I'm not sure, then you probably don't want to go to medical school and put yourself through the financial burden, life burden. You're giving up all of these young years in your 20s, and you're not going to be happy, and ultimately that's going to translate to your patients, and you're not going to provide good patient care. So if you're really struggling with motivation, do a lot of soul searching, think about what you're doing and why, and then decide, like, is this really what I want to be doing? Do I really need motivation? Or I really think that you just kind of got to work that out for yourself. And then, of course, there's times where you just legit don't want to study and you hate it, and we've all been there, and we've all been in deep, dark places when we're studying and felt really not good. And that's when it's absolutely imperative that you reach out to your friends, to your family, you take breaks, you take self-care, you keep up with exercise, eating healthy, sleep. You can't sacrifice your own personal self-care, and I think that's becoming so much more important, and people are talking about it, and I really, really appreciate everyone to bringing this to light, how important it is to take care of ourselves, because this is a really tough road, and if we don't take care of ourselves, then we can't take care of other people. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself first, and do all of those things to kind of protect yourself from getting into those bad places. Okay, let's scroll down. Some residencies are very hierarchical. Any thoughts on how to thrive in a heavy hierarchical environment? Yeah, medicine is quite hierarchical. I'm like saying, I can't say that word tonight. And some of that's just medicine in general. Some of it's your residency. Actually, I thought that my residency was pretty structured. Like the first year would always go to the second year, who would always go to the third year, and you would never go to a third year if you hadn't gone to a second year, and it was, down the line. I think that it's just a cultural thing, but also even in the hospital, the attending is the number one, and you just kind of have to respect those boundaries and feel out the own culture of your place. It's not ideal. That's just how medicine is, and it's different everywhere. And I think that it's getting better. I think that patriarchal society that medicine once was is changing a lot, and I think that people aren't tolerating that anymore, which is great. And so you just kind of got to navigate your own culture. Oh, right. You guys are just the greatest. I love this. Is it weird that you're a doctor and your husband is a PA? No, my husband is the greatest ever in the whole world. I can't stand how lucky I am to have him. He's the best. How did you decide on ophthalmology in medical school? I get this question a lot, like why did I choose ophthalmology? I was introduced to ophthalmology when I was really young. I was 16, and I absolutely fell in love with the surgeries and kind of the intricacy of the eyeball and being able to help people with their vision. I really liked kind of the instant gratification of ophthalmology, like cataract surgery, you have no vision, and then 20 minutes later you have vision. It's like unbelievable. It's a miracle. And I think the science and the pathology of the eye and the retina is just fascinating. I was really, really kind of captivated by all of ophthalmology. And so I was like laser focused on ophthalmology all through medical school. And then when I got to residency, I realized that maybe I didn't love intraocular surgery as much as I thought that I would. I didn't love surgery inside the eyeball as much as I thought I would. And it just didn't do it for me. There's no blood and actual anatomy. I miss like the skin and the veins and the fat and like everything that you get from traditional surgery. And I just didn't think I could do cataract surgery my whole life. I didn't think I could do glaucoma surgery. And then I found plastics, and it was everything. It had that kind of intricacy of the eyeball. You still, I think, to be a good oculoplastic surgeon, need to have a really deep understanding of the eye and how the eyeball works. And that's what makes an oculoplastic surgeon so special and so good at what they do. But you still get to do like regular surgery, to me. And so that was kind of the best of both worlds, and I loved that. You mentioned you knew you needed to be a surgeon. What about being a surgeon called to you? I think I've always been somebody who likes to do things with my hands. I am very tactile, and I like to be creative and artistic, and surgery is extremely challenging. It's scary. I'm getting a low battery in my phone. I am absolutely in love with being able to use my hands and use a skill that I can do to fix someone and to actually be able to do something instead of just using my brain. I think that clinicians and diagnosticians are brilliant, and you're absolutely doing the same thing that surgeons are doing, but you're using your brain. But for me, having that ability to use my hands and to be able to see the anatomy and understand the body, it's just absolutely incredible, and I really loved that. I like procedural things. It's very enjoyable and rewarding to me, so I wanted to do that. How do you manage fitness along with a ton of work? I'm having a hard time. Yeah, okay, so I feel you. I am not an athletic or a naturally fit person at all. I have to work out or else I lose my mind and I get out of shape. My body does not naturally stay in a fit state, and if I don't work out, I feel it immediately in my body and my mind, mentally, and my energy levels. It's very important to me. And so I've just had to kind of adjust my schedule depending on the stage of my life to be able to fit in working out. When I was in medical school, I almost always worked out after school because time-wise I could. When I was in residency, I didn't get done with work until like 6 or 7, and so that was too late for me to go to the gym. And so in residency, working out after work was just never going to happen. Even if I said, like, I'm going to go work out, this is not going to happen. So I started working out in the morning, which I hate, but once I made it part of my routine, then it is what it is. I would get up early in the morning, I'd go straight to the gym, I'd work out, I would shower and get ready at the gym, which actually is the most efficient, time-saving, best thing ever. I highly encourage you to work out in the morning and get ready at the gym. If you're a girl, you will get ready so much faster than you get ready when you're at home. And so it saves time, it's very efficient, and then you're done. Then the workout's over and you're done. And I would always get to work early and still have like an hour at work before clinic started after I'd worked out to do my morning studying or work, because I like to study in the morning too, and I didn't want to sacrifice all of that kind of stuff. What is your favorite part of NYC? I'm sorry I'm like jumping all over and jumping around with these questions. I hope that's okay. I'm having so much fun. I'll do more lives so that I can get some more of these questions, but you guys are the best. I think I love the energy of New York, the kind of hustle and bustle, and everybody's like on their way on a mission, and it's just very energizing. And also, I love walking everywhere. Walking everywhere is the greatest. And it's so funny because in Minnesota, I lived maybe 2 miles from Mayo Clinic, not even 2 miles, a little bit less, and I would never have walked to work. And now, if something's 2 miles away, I'm like, oh, it's a 30-minute walk. Like, this is great. I'm just going to walk there. And I feel really good. I feel very energetic. I adore walking everywhere. I don't know if that'll change in the winter, or do you guys walk everywhere and then in the winter, like, take the train everywhere? So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I love the energy, the food, and the walking. Those are my top 3 favorite parts of New York City. You guys are the best. How do you start narrowing down residencies once you know what direction you want to go? Well, I think you decide surgery or medicine, kids, not kids, so peds, not peds, and then you decide like big or small. And you know, there's those little like flow charts. Do you love being in the dark, like radiology? Do you love, like, there's all kinds of funny things. those flowcharts are actually probably pretty legit. But you got to make the big decisions first. Like, do you want to work with kids or adults? Do you want a geriatric population or a younger population? Do you want to do surgery or not? Do you want to know a lot about a little or a little about a lot? What suits your personality? Like that kind of stuff. Oh my gosh, advice how to not be consumed by our phones at all time. Preach. I don't know. They're addictive and they're horrible and they're destroying our brains. And I think that for me, starting to read before bed has actually been really helpful. I used to read all the time, and then like medical school kills you and you can't read. I never read in medical school. And then residency, I didn't read that much until just this past year when I was feeling like really drained by all the scrolling on my phone. And so I just said, you know what, I'm going to read before bed every night no matter what, even if it's only a page or two. And so now I read a book before bed always instead of scrolling on my phone, even though sometimes it's hard to stop scrolling. It's crazy how it just hijacks our mind. But I think that reading has actually been a really good thing for me. So I would encourage you all to read if you guys read. Why did you switch to a plant-based diet? It's so funny. So many of you notice that I don't eat as many animal products as I used to. And I don't think I ever like publicly stated that, but maybe a year and a half ago, I watched like a bunch of documentaries. I watched Earthlings, that will turn you into a vegan. If you want to be a vegan, just watch Earthlings. And I really, really started having a hard time eating meat. I'm still not like 100% vegan, but I generally don't eat many animal products at home, and it's mostly an ethical thing for me. I have a hard time with it. And I think clearly it's very beneficial for your health to eat mostly plants and very beneficial for the environment to eat mostly plants. But I don't stress about it if I'm out at a restaurant or something. I don't have the capacity in my mind to stress about that. So I just try to eat as few animals as possible at the moment. And that's how I roll. You guys are so sweet. Oh my God, this is the funniest question. How long did it take you to train Kyle to be a good Instagram photographer? He's like the worst photographer ever. It's so funny. Like all the pictures are like half of my head or like it's just hilarious. I think he's getting better. But also I don't stress about Instagram or social media. You guys know I'll be gone for a week and then back, and I don't ever want to post if I don't feel motivated to post. And so if I feel like I don't have anything to say, then I just don't post and I don't stress about it. I'm sorry. I'll try to be better about being more consistent. And I think I'll be able to. I'm having so much fun with this. I think I'm going to cut it and just do a little 30-minute one as our intro. But I appreciate you guys asking all these questions. Oh yes, love your hair. Are they extensions? Lots of people. Yes, they're totally extensions. I have the thinnest, most horrible hair. I've had extensions for like 100 years. Okay, so I'm sorry I'm all over the place. I love you guys so much. I'm going to cut this short and I will post this on YouTube so that you can refer to it later. But send me your questions. Maybe I'll try to do this more frequently, but this has been really fun and easy, and thank you so much for tuning in. You guys are the best ever. I'll talk to you later. Bye.